Hey guys, it's Chris. From careless selfies gone wrong to fearless daredevils and their crazy stunts, here are 10 of the most fearless and careless people ever. Number 10. Hardcore parkour. Ray Connor was a fearless parkour enthusiast who made a careless mistake and ended up paying the ultimate price. He'd been working on the super yacht of a billionaire named Sir Jim Ratcliffe when the yacht docked near Genoa and Ray decided to do some parkouring. In the morning, he sent his sister a selfie showing him on the roof of a rather tall building near the Maritime Museum at the port. He was fearless about parkouring, loved climbing and running, and he thanked his skill and energy in part from his military training. Unfortunately, no matter how fearless you are, it's still pretty careless to jump around like a rabbit on top of a high building. Well, Ray never sent another selfie to his sister again. A patrol was sent to the building where Ray was last seen, but they didn't find him there. It wasn't until a few days later when an actual search team arrived at the building that they found his body. A simple mistake had caused Ray to fall through a plastic roof covering and drop 30 feet to the hard ground below. According to the post-mortem, he may not have even died right away, but he was definitely dead when the search party found him. Number 9. The careless selfie. Two Iranian girls too busy having fun to have any fear of the consequences were recently rushed to a hospital after taking a careless selfie while driving. The two women in Iran learned fear the hard way when they crashed their car in the middle of their selfie video. They'd been singing karaoke and thought it would be a smart idea to record themselves for a few seconds. Well, they uploaded the video online after the incident, and you can clearly see that neither of them were watching the road. You can even see the exact moment when they crashed and the camera turned off. In this case, the two careless girls survived, but they were extremely lucky. They even uploaded selfies from the hospital just to show everyone that they were still alive. And hopefully they won't be so negligent during their next car singing session. Number 8. The careless lion tamer. A lion tamer in Ukraine was recently mauled on camera by a lion that he was supposed to be taming. You obviously need to be pretty fearless to step into the ring with one of the biggest and most ferocious cats in the world. But just because you have no fear doesn't mean the lion's not going to attack you. The attack happened during a circus performance, and the video footage of the incident shows the exact moment when the lion bit down on the man's arm and forced him to the ground. The lion tamer told ABC News that even though he managed to fend the big lion off, its teeth remained stuck inside of his muscles. He ended up walking away with only a few bites and gashes and was extremely lucky the lion didn't kill him. If the big cat had gotten its teeth into the tamer's neck, it wouldn't have ended well at all. But here's the really crazy part. The lion tamer is definitely fearless as he's still working with the same lion and has admitted that it wasn't the cat's fault but his own. Carelessness is definitely something that should be avoided when taming lions. I don't think I would ever want to work with that lion anymore, but what about you? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Number 7. Living on the edge. Living on the edge was just a part of Wu Yongning's life. The guy called himself China's first rooftopper, and he was famous for his fearless stunts that he posted all over social media. He often climbed up extremely tall buildings to perform these stunts, with most of them leaving his body hanging off the edge. Wu regularly did gusty skyscraper acrobatics for his online fans and had people donating money to him depending on if they liked his stunt or not. But unfortunately, on November 8th, when Wu climbed to the top of Huanyuan International Center, fearlessness led to a careless mistake that saw him plunge 62 stories to his death. He was only 26 years old at the time and had been trying to do pull-ups on the edge of the building in central China with hopes the money from his fans would pay for his upcoming wedding. In the video that was uploaded, it's pretty obvious that Wu was having a hard time holding himself up. He was losing his grip and slipping. And finally, he slipped a little too far and landed on the terrace below. And an unfortunate window cleaner stumbled upon his mangled body. Unfortunately, rooftopping is still a viral trend. Fearless maniacs all over the world are dangling off buildings and risking their own lives in extremely careless stunts. If you've been thinking about trying this, please don't. Number 6. The most fearless pilot. Chuck Yeager is one of the bravest and most fearless men who ever lived. He was a young military pilot and a confident flyer who was the first man on Earth to break the sound barrier at Mach 1. Chuck became the fastest man alive and went on to have a military career of almost 30 years. He started in the military as a non-commissioned officer. He survived getting shot down in an airplane, and in the Second World War, he battled as a fighter ace. This guy was one of the best test pilots in the world, and you have to be pretty careless with your own life to be a test pilot, as not all of them make it back alive. And to be honest, being careless is exactly how Chuck broke the sound barrier. He was flying the revolutionary X-1 rocket plane on October 14th of 1947. It was his 9th flight inside the rocket plane. Chuck was suffering from cracked ribs, the result of falling off his horse a few days before, but fearlessness, courage, determination, and definitely some carelessness helped Chuck to push past the horrifying turbulence that was going on inside the airplane and shatter straight through the previously impenetrable sound barrier. The first sonic boom in history could be heard all across the California desert as Chuck launched the world into a new era of aviation technology. He went on flying until his retirement in 2002, and then Chuck passed away in 2020 after a long and fulfilling life. Number 5. The man who bit back. In India, a man named Raj Kumar was drinking in his house when an extremely venomous snake invaded his home and bit him. Completely unprovoked, the snake slithered inside and sunk its venomous fangs straight into the unsuspecting man. Unfortunately for the snake, Raj turned out to be one fearless dude. After the snake bit him, he grabbed hold of the snake and started biting it back. Whether he really was fearless or just angry, it was definitely a weird reaction to the situation. He bit the snake repeatedly to the point that it was dead and mangled. Raj was then able to bring the dead snake to the hospital with him so that he could show the doctor his attacker. There was no information released on what kind of snake it was, but Raj was in serious condition and being transferred to another hospital because of its venom, suggesting it may have been an Indian cobra. And as for what kind of alcohol this guy was drinking to make him bite a venomous snake to death, well, we don't know about that either, and maybe that's for the best. Number 4. Base jumping mayhem. It takes some real guts to be a base jumper, and it also takes some real luck to survive a 180-foot fall after slamming into a cliff face during a base jumping incident gone horribly wrong. A man named Sam was caught in a huge gust of wind after jumping from a mountain peak 3,300 feet in the air. This happened in the Scottish Highlands, and the fearless base jumper ended up very much regretting his carelessness when he collided with a mountainside, causing his parachute to partially deflate. There was nothing stopping Sam from tumbling down the rock face of the cliff and landing on hard ground. And according to Sam himself, he's never heard of anyone falling 180 feet and surviving. And yet he did just that, coming away with only a few scratches and bruises. He wasn't even seriously injured. But here's a part about carelessness. Sam was trying to become the first person to jump off Lord Berkeley's seat on the Anti-Latch Mountain. And that, in and of itself, is fine. What's not fine is that Sam was very aware of the high winds. He knew it was too dangerous to jump, and he did it anyways. So let's just hope he thinks twice next time before jumping to what could be his death. Number 3. Fearless diver breaks protocol. A fearless diver recently got in some hot water after carelessly breaking protocol and getting attacked by a tiger shark. A group of 10 scuba divers were off the coast of South Africa when one of them made a grave error. The original plan was to dump some chum buckets and watch the sharks feed, and of course, there were safety protocols to follow. The group was supposed to act just like a school of fish by remaining together. This was supposed to prevent them from being eaten. However, one particularly careless diver broke the protocol, got separated, and was attacked by a 10-foot shark. It was very lucky that the shark didn't bite any major arteries, as that would have meant certain death for the diver. Instead, the diver only suffered minor injuries and a huge blow to his ego. But he did manage to escape the situation with all his limbs intact. Number 2. The fearless tourist. A group of tourists in the African nation of Ghana recently ran into some trouble when a careless photo shoot with a hungry crocodile went wrong. What a big shock. Anyone who looks at a crocodile and doesn't immediately feel fear and instead feels an inclination to take a selfie with it, well, they may not have a very long life in front of them. A group of tourists were at a crocodile pond posing for the photo when the crocodile lashed out and tried to eat one of the tourists. According to the local reports, the tour guide had failed to give the crocodile a chicken to eat before the tourists tried to take their pictures, and that meant the croc was especially hungry. Funnily enough, when the crocodile attacked the tourists, all of her friends ran away screaming. The woman was bitten on her side. She suffered minor injuries from the crocodile's deadly teeth, but she did make a full recovery. And this should be a lesson to all tourists. There's nothing wrong with being fearless, but some animals should definitely be met with more caution than others. Number 1. The luckiest window cleaner. Alcides Moreno told news reporters that he loved to clean windows. He loved the soap, the water, the squeegee, and going up and down tall buildings like Spider-Man. However, his job turned deadly when he fell 47 stories from the roof of a New York skyscraper. I mean, it definitely takes a fearless kind of person to be a window cleaner for skyscrapers, or to be an air conditioning repairman working hundreds of feet above the sidewalks. But walking on the roof of such a tall skyscraper is a next-level kind of fearless. Moreno and his brother took the elevator to the roof of the Solo Tower in Manhattan's Upper East Side first thing in the morning. Their plan was to clean all the windows of the 47-floor luxury tower. Unfortunately, when the brothers climbed into the washing platform, the cables holding it steady slipped from their position, and Moreno fell all the way to the bottom. This careless error caused both him and his brother to plummet about 472 feet into a narrow alleyway. The BBC reported that they would have been traveling at a speed of about 120 miles per hour straight to the ground. Alcides' brother landed on a wooden fence and his body was severed in half. Alcides, on the other hand, landed in a pile of twisted metal and miraculously survived. Alcides was rushed to the hospital and put into a coma. He sustained injuries to his spinal column, his brain, and he had fractured his ribs, his arms, and his legs. He had to receive 24 pints of blood because he had lost so much of it. But in the end, this fearless window cleaner survived. But unfortunately, his brother wasn't so lucky. Thanks for watching. What's the most fearless thing you've ever done? Let me know in the comments, and be sure to hit that subscribe button for all the best videos from the channel.